Good afternoon. My name is Paulo Ramirez, and I'm with Christian for implementing band-specific legislation. So what Miguel actually mentioned was that what actually leads to aggression is a lack of training, and that is true because I found that according to the Discovery News channel, a study by the University of Bristol, the School of Veterinary Sciences, found that dogs that went to puppy training classes were 1.5 times less likely to be aggressive to strangers. So it's actually not even, it's like Miguel said himself, it's actually not, if it's not totally dependent on the dog's genetics, it could actually be the training itself. So because of many owners not training their dogs, it's leading them to be aggressive because they don't know how to react in certain situations. And then Annie Fenix, a professional trainer certified by the CCPDT, the Certification Council for Professional Dog Trainers, found that only 4% of dogs in the U.S. take a training course. And she further stated that using the Journal of the American Animal Hospitalization Association, that only 4.7% of puppies specifically, in a particular controlled study, had attended a socialization class, which further shows that not a lot of dogs are being trained, let alone even properly socialized. So it's actually leading them to be aggressive because they don't know how to react in certain situations. The same can be said with adolescent dogs, that they don't know how to react. One of the things to actually fix that was putting them around mature dogs, so like just socializing them better. But he's right. It's actually because of the lack of training, and it shows that across the U.S., dogs really aren't being properly trained to handle situations. Another thing that Miguel said is that Chihuahuas, he wasn't sure why Chihuahuas are being included, but the thing about breed-specific legislation is not just to completely get rid of the dog. The legislation itself just tends to control certain breeds. So the reason Chihuahuas are actually affected by the breed-specific legislation is because actually it's populated. So even in Hollister, California, they actually included Chihuahuas in a mandatory spaying. So just because, same thing as Christian said, just in shelters and stuff, there's way too many dogs on hand. Another reason Chihuahuas are actually being included on that is because of something called small dog syndrome. And according to PetCareRx.com, it's an online retailer for like dog medication. Jumping, growling, barking, and up to biting are all indicators that your dog has small dog syndrome, a learned behavior that stems from inadequate training. So it goes all back to the training again. And then that's why Chihuahuas, since they're smaller, they feel like they have to act more aggressive in order to be just as like on the same level. So just because as a bigger dog, so if you have like a golden retriever and you have a Chihuahua, this actually happens to me because I have a Chihuahua and a pit bull, and then the Chihuahua is always biting at the pit bull, and then it actually comes at times where my Chihuahua actually like leads my pit bull away by biting on her ears, and for that same reason, it's because you want to become dominant. And if owners don't interact in that situation, if you see a dog actually biting, if you see the Chihuahua biting on like the pit's ears, well now I know, like you should actually separate them. So again, it's going back to training. There's a lack of training in the U.S. So if you don't stop that, you're teaching the Chihuahua that it's okay and it's a proper way to behave in that situation. So referring back to PETA, which is again the People for Ethical Treatment of Animals, something they said in regards to pit bulls, if someone proposed to ban Labrador retrievers, Chihuahuas, or poodles, we'd be for those too, because we don't think any dog should have to be brought into the world with somebody in the shelters. So it's just showing again that breed-specific legislation, which can include up to mandatory spaying and neutering, is actually just helping control dog populations. When there's so many in the shelters, there's a lot being euthanized when there shouldn't really need to be. So if you control the population in general, you won't have so many in the shelters that need to be killed. And another thing is we have the breed-specific legislation because it actually can affect people in their pockets. Because as far as insurance companies go, Kaneen Corder, he's a PhD. He wrote a blog that's 14 dog breeds blacklisted by insurance companies. he said, we're in the business of evaluating risk, and based on what we know, the dogs on our uninsurable list pose a higher risk. So insurance companies will actually look at what kind of pets you have, depending if it's on that list that was set as an uninsurable list, they'll actually like raise your rates and stuff like that, or some companies won't even insure you at all based on the type of pet that you have. And that again has to go back to the breed specific legislation, but only because they've been shown to have like higher tendencies of like aggression and stuff like that.